All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA prop betting video. Coming in off of another pretty solid day yesterday, going 4 for 6, meaning we are 9 for 12 post All-Star break thus far. Hopefully, we have you guys covered here with another good day in the NBA. Also, going to be touching on a few college basketball prop bets on Prize Picks. But first, we're going to get into a quick recap from yesterday, and then we're going to talk about an update that Underdog made to their website that's going to make it much easier for you guys to profit. Let's go ahead and get into it. So guys, we don't need to spend too much time on it. Again, 4 for 6 on the day yesterday. And really, I would say no real misses. I know we had Joe and Jay Huff, not Cash. But I would say the thought process behind those two was definitely correct. Jay Huff, it was just a question of whether or not he would get the minutes. He ended up getting 16 minutes, okay? 16. I mean, he almost got the over with getting 16 minutes. So I think we really can't trust betting on the Pacers just in general. That's kind of the worry about post All-Star break with these teams actively trying to tank. So that's annoying. The thought process would be that he'd get 20 minutes, so that kind of sucked. And then Isaiah Joe. This is a good example why I like betting on fantasy score, guys. He went off yesterday just in general, had a very good game. Just wasn't there for the points. And unfortunately, we never got the fantasy score prop bet. And so that was a little bit annoying, but kind of correct process just in general. Everyone else kind of really crushed it. Fears end up getting to his fantasy score as well for you guys later on in the video yesterday. He really crushed that there too. And then guys, after this video, make sure to go ahead and check out the update that Underdog just made to their website. I made a video covering it. They're basically going to pay you up more for 2 and 3 slip bets, making that basically the optimal bet slip size for every bettor that places bets on Prize Picks or Underdog. Really, we're probably going to be placing more of our bets on Underdog just in general, and they're going to be 2 or 3 slip bets. So for example, guys, if you had just used those 4 specific bets, or let's just say you hit 4 bets out of the 6 that I gave you guys, which has been something that's been annoying, that's been happening basically a lot over the past like 3-4 weeks, where every slip is basically 4 out of 6, been annoying. But anyways, if you use that hit rate, you would have, and if you bet all sides of that 2 slip bet, all the combinations of that, you would have profited 6 units. Okay, so that's why that ends up being pretty darn huge, right? And so I did want to touch on that, guys. But with that, we are going to go ahead and get into the top prop bets for today using, well, the Prize Picks Optimizer. And so for the first game, guys, we are going to have Phoenix here versus Orlando. 1.5 point spread, 220 game total almost. We look at the players that are out. Devin Booker is going to be out. That's kind of the biggest thing. Jalen Suggs also being listed as day-to-day is definitely interesting. I'm kind of assuming that he's out, given that this is the back end of a back-to-back. Wait, no, that's wrong. They ended up playing 2 nights ago. Apologies. Not the back end of a back-to-back for them. But if we look at this game, guys, the best bet that we are going to get is going to be Desmond Bane to get over his rebounds and assists. That's not necessarily a bet that I like to get to because of the top DVP matchup and because he has been struggling to get that over. Does have a 53% likelihood to hit. If Jalen Suggs ends up being active, I don't hate the idea of getting to his over fantasy score. At the same time, he only played 20 minutes in the last game. So to me, that is very much concerning. And so if he does end up sitting, guys, we know who directly benefits. And that's Anthony Black. And so I'm actually really surprised at the fantasy scoreline that we're getting for him because he is someone that should be able to crush if Suggs is out. Franz Wagner is still out as well. The only concern that we have is going to be due to the tougher matchup here. And so I'm happy to get to this over fantasy score bet. So I just mentioned Underdog, guys. We'll have to see what their Underdog line comes out to be, if it ends up being there or not, right? And so that's kind of the tough part is Underdog typically comes out with their fantasy scores much later on in the day. But if you want to get to his over fantasy score, you could definitely end up doing that bet as well. For the Phoenix Suns, Jalen Green would be the player I'd want to bet on the most, but we're currently not getting any prop bets for him. And I'm assuming that's just due to like Grayson Allen being questionable as well. Dylan Brooks is someone that if Allen were to sit, maybe you could get to his over fantasy score as well. We know on a per 36 basis, he does really crush when Devin Booker is off the court, guys. He averages closer to 37.5 fantasy points per 36. So maybe in a game stack, you end up liking that bet. And so now we go ahead and get into the next game. We have Philly versus the Pelicans, guys. So Embiid is still out, and then you also have Paul George still out, which is interesting there. This is going to be a close game, a 4.5 point spread, 230 game total here. The biggest question mark that we have is whether or not Trey Murphy is going to play. They are coming in off of the front end of a back-to-back. This is the back end of a back-to-back for them. And so I'm kind of expecting him to play. And so really, I think that leaves all of the Pelicans being pretty thin here tonight. And so for me, guys, the player that I'd most want to get to would be, again, Derek Queen, who the game from last night has an update just yet as I'm recording this video, but he crushed the over there, and it's really just banked based on Missy being out for them, their other center, and so he's someone that you could definitely go back to the well with him there. I like the fact that has a 51.5% likely to hit. I would argue it's a good matchup there against Andre Drummond as well, so definitely spots you could think about there. He's someone I think we could be looking at for his fantasy score as well. Other than that, are we getting any other good spots here in this game? Bona to get over his rebounds here of 5 is one that I like. And that's going to be rooted in him getting more minutes than what he's projected to get. Ended up getting 20 minutes in the last game. He is someone that if he is going to get 20 minutes, he should be able to get this over, especially in what ends up being a good matchup. Trey Murphy over 3.5 assists. I really don't mind this one as well, guys. A good matchup for him. I'm starting to notice we have a pretty solid game stacking opportunity here. And for Bona, you could potentially do his over points as well. Maybe we get to his over points and rebounds if it ends up being at like 10. But right now it's at 11.5, so we don't want to mess with that. But I do like either of those bets there for him. I'll go with his over rebounds for now, but could easily adjust that as the day progresses. And so we jump on into the Pistons, guys. So Jalen Duren is going to be back. Isaiah Stewart is still suspended, which I'll say, man, the little suspension that he had is crazy to me. He should have got much more than he did. I don't think he should have played for the rest of the regular season, to be honest with you, just because he's done it plenty of times. I don't know. That was weird to me. But anyways, with them being all healthy, it's going to make the players that we can be on for them a little thin. And then we do look at Chicago, guys. I don't think we can trust Chicago at all. Literally, just with how deep they are at the guard position, it just makes them extremely thin. And then they're doing some weird stuff just in general with the bigs. Now, if Gorson ends up sitting, which he's expected to play, but it's a 10-point spread, maybe he ends up sitting, then Jalen Smith and Modest would be a little bit more appealing. But I think we're staying away from Chicago. And so from there, guys, we're getting like Josh Giddey for over his fantasy score, which I just can't trust the minutes to be there for him. Only 21 minutes in the last game. Now, was that due to him playing terribly? 1 for 7, maybe, potentially. I don't want to mess with that. Jalen Smith, again, if Gorson were to sit, maybe we could trust this. He's just not getting enough minutes for me to truly trust it, honestly. And then like LeVert, good matchup, in a game where he could easily get extended run, could get to that. And I'll include this for now. Hoping that he does get maybe a little extended run there. Mostly in the fourth quarter. Basically, he's someone that his minutes shouldn't shift if it ends up being a blowout at the end of the fourth quarter. So I'm okay with that. It does feel like we're forcing it a little bit, but can't really control that. And it is worth calling out Okoro as well. Not terrible. Maybe like a game stack here. I mean, it is a high scoring game. That'd be a spot where you could then get to him there as well. So not terrible. These two will not make the bet of the day, but I will show you guys it at the end of the video here as bets that I do like. And so from there, we jump on into Memphis versus Miami, guys. So Miami healthy. This is a very high scoring game. They are 10.5-point favorites in a very good matchup here against Memphis. Now, what's important about Memphis is that it seems like Aldama could end up playing and Cedric Howard could end up playing. We just don't know for sure. We need that update. It was the front end of back-to-back, and so I kind of expect those players to be active. Walter Clayton Jr. could be someone that ends up being active as well. Ty Jerome. It's a stay away. I can't control this, guys. We just don't want to mess with Memphis until we get that news. And so we are seeing like Larson potentially for over his points and assists here of 13.5. With them being healthy, I don't think I want to mess with that. And then Davion Mitchell, I could see getting to his under here with the Heat being healthy as well. But overall, those don't feel like perfect bets. Ty Jerome to get over his points and assists is somewhat appealing to me if some of the other players like Walter Clayton ends up sitting, if Cedric Howard ends up sitting, where he'd be forced into potentially getting more minutes than the 22 that he's projected to get. And he also has, an extended period of time off after that All-Star break weekend where he should be a little bit healthier. Maybe they give him a little bit more minutes and they're not restricting it as much. He's been great in the limited minutes that he's been getting. I don't hate that. But again, until we get that injury news, it does feel a little risky. Then we jump on in to the Kings versus the Spurs here. Raynaud's going to be someone that is like the only player I want to bet for the Kings because this game's a massive block, guys. 18-point spread. And he's like the only one where I feel like we could somewhat trust the minutes to be there with Cardwell being out, with Sabonis being out. And other than that, it feels too risky. And so we look at some of these bets that we're getting for him, guys. Raynaud over 13.5 points is something that I could get to there. If you're betting on Underdog at 12.5, I think that ends up being a much better spot to get to. If you're betting on Prize Picks, again, I like his over fantasy score much more. He's projected to get 29 minutes. If he ends up getting that, I think he's going to have a great chance to end up getting the over. The issue that we have is obviously they're a team that's not really trying to win. Maybe they're just have a baseline of minutes for everyone. Maybe he only gets 25 in this game, then ends up being a blow-up. That's the tough part about the back end of the season here, guys. Keegan Murray is someone that should still get a decent amount of run. I don't hate it, but also not enough for me to really go on too much. And then we jump on into the last game, guys. Not the most appealing game for overs. 217 game total, 3.5 point spread. That's good. No one's really out that's going to impact some value for us. And so let's just sort it by the best bets filter here, guys, and just go through it. So like DFS for under 5 points, sure. And lower scoring game, I can get behind that. Karl-Anthony Towns over his PRA, appealing, but we got to remember this is a more difficult matchup in a lower scoring game. Sure, I'll get to it for now, but does feel a little thin. OG over 14.5 points. Don't hate it. Would feel like we're forcing a little bit. Reed Shepherd, same thing. Okay, get into it, but also don't necessarily need to get to it. So those are all decent bets, but let's go ahead and just show you guys my favorite bets for the day here, NBA-wise. And I'll be showing you guys some college basketball prop bets. So here's the list of all the bets I like, guys. So we have 9 bets here on the day that I think are overall pretty darn solid bets. We are going to condense this down into hopefully a 6 slip bet. But let's take off some of the bets that we don't necessarily need to get to. Reed Shepherd, 50.6% likely. I don't necessarily need to get to that one. Cat, again, I don't necessarily love that game. If you guys do, by all means, you can place those bets. And we need to find one more to take off of. I didn't really want to get to Levert or Okoro too much, so and maybe we just make it a 5 slip bet instead. For now, let's just do that. This will be the 5 slip bet of the day. Murphy over assists, Ty Jerome over his points and assists. Again, that could end up being a little thin as well. He's questionable. No, let's actually take that up. We'll make it a 6 slip bet here. This is what we'll do. Just because he's questionable, and again, with Memphis, we don't exactly know what to expect for them. Anthony Black, we're betting on Suggs to be out. That ends up being a decent spot. And then Queen, if Murphy sits, that ends up being a better bet for Queen overall, but I do like Murphy to get over his 3.5 assists. And then Bona. Where's Bona? We need to get Bona back in here. And so this will be the official NBA bet of the day here, guys, just for accounting purposes so I can update the bet of the day record. 6 slip bet there for prize picks. Again, though, the strategy going forward, and I probably need to adjust how I do the bet of the day here, where we're just going to be doing a lot of 2 slip bets. Now, the tough part about for me is that I'm trying to do these videos for everyone, right? For people that are placing traditional sports bets, people that are placing on prize picks, and then underdog bets. The issue is Underdog comes out with their best line, their prop line, fantasy scores later on in the day. So I can't wait too long to the point where the videos are just going to do terribly, right? That's the balancing act of giving you guys good betting content, but also trying to put out good YouTube content in general. With that being said, guys, make sure to like the video. If you guys can hype the video as well after you like the video, that will help out a bunch. We should be getting to 100 likes on these videos. Obviously, we've been crushing it thus far this season. That would be greatly appreciated, guys. And then real quickly, guys, just want to mention some college basketball prop bets that we are getting here as well. Some pretty solid ones. We're not getting prop line differences yet, but Zuby for over his fantasy score, Tyler Tanner for over his fantasy score. Love those 2 on prize picks. And then Seth Trimble is decent. And then I do like Donnie Freeman for over his fantasy score as well. The nice part about all those bets is that the average sportsbook line and the projection data all agree. So we got I would say 4 solid bets. Now, I typically like to wait until we're getting underdog lines just to confirm the edges that we're getting, but 4 solid bets there, guys. All right, that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate you being here. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Good luck with all the bets that you place today. If you guys would like access to the tools that you saw throughout this video, make sure to head on over to 905sports.com. Get access to all those tools for a low monthly cost of $10 a month. Appreciate you guys being here, and good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.